Hi, how's it going everyone? Welcome to our Week 11 presentations. In this video, we are going to discuss action on poverty and disadvantage. Here are the outline questions my partner and I are going to cover throughout the video, and feel free to make a pause if you need more time to read. Before we discuss each of the questions, we should know what's causing people to be poor and why we should care about them. People who are defined as poor are the people who have income below average and fail to meet their basic needs for survival. Worst of all, many of the non-poor see the poor as unintelligent and lazy. But what the non-poor fail to understand are several major factors are related to causing the poverty, such as health factor, environmental factor, economic factor, infrastructure, education, social factors, and family planning. For instance, lack of basic infrastructure such as roads, water supply, sewage treatment, or electricity can reduce the quality of life and delay economic growth. Lack of healthcare service leads to lack of immunizations, which can easily cause the spread of disease. Also, disastrous environmental factors like flooding, snowfall, tornado, or earthquake. Hard economic conditions like financial meltdown of 2008, or the unpredictable outbreak of pandemic disease like COVID-19 that put business and employees into difficulties. Research also concludes that we should care about the poor because the non-poor are also impacted by poverty, such as the potential of crime, potential to follow demagogues, the spread of illness and health problems, wasted life that may be contribute to family, friends, community, and society, illegal immigration into the developed world, and collapse of failed states that require more resources. Basically, poverty affects and hurts everyone, therefore we should care and solve the issues together. Now let's have a look at question 1. Discuss the action point in the UN Millennium Goals and report on how many goals were achieved. In year 2000, member countries of United Nations, including Australia, set the target of halving global poverty by 2015. To achieve this, they established 8 Millennium Development Goals and set the target to achieve one of them. The 8 goals consist of eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality and empower women, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combat HIV and AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, ensure environmental sustainability, and build a global partnership for development. These goals are said to be the guideline in assessing poverty reduction for all around the world. For the action point, there are several well-known public and private groups and campaigns trying to accomplish these goals and the target by putting efforts and investments. For example, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Girls Not Brides, the Project Red campaign, Malala Funds, the World Bank, and other more social services provided by the government. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation focused on reducing the world's deadliest diseases like AIDS, malaria, or tuberculosis, funding vaccinations and immunizations, offering microfinance to the poor, provide agricultural productivity through the Green Revolution for Africa, and improve public high school education in the United States. The Project Red campaign trying to help the poor by licensing the label Red to the companies that want to contribute access to them. For example, Apple issued a special edition label Product Red and gave a portion of retail price to the Global Fund. Motorola also contributed $8.5 for each of the Red Motorola phones sold. Or Gap contributed 50% of the net profit from the sale of Red clothing line. By gathering contribution of big firms, it also created awareness of helping the poor. Till nowadays, thanks to the shoppers' money has come from the Red to help support the service that curing AIDS and HIV. Organizations that focus on gender equality and empower women are Girls Not Bride and Malala Fund, for instance. Girls Not Bride address the common issues of early marriage, and Malala Fund fight for the women's education. There are also short-run reliefs that always stand by to aid populations that are hit by natural disaster, like Red Cross and CARE. They are called Emergency Aid Program, which they provide cash transfer, direct feeding program, free food distribution, price subsidies, and public work programs. The government also played the biggest role in fighting poverty. For example, social service that provide scholarship, medical care, pensions, or food stamps in the United States to help the hunger. Now let's have a look at what have been achieved so far for each of the goals since 1990s to 2015.
The following statistics are based on the UNIT website. The first UNIT minimum development goal is eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. The target is to reduce by half the proportion of people whose income is less than $1 a day. And according to the statistic, it was met 5 years ahead of the 2050 deadline. More than 1 billion people have been lifted out extreme poverty since 1990. In 1990, nearly half of the population in the developing regions live on less than $1.25 a day. This rate dropped to 40% in 2015. I would say for goal number 1, it's kinda successful. The second goal is to achieve universal primary education. The target is to ensure that every child is able to complete a full course of primary schooling. Among young age 50 to 24, the literacy rate and enrollment have improved globally from 83% to 91% between 1990 and 2015. The gap between women and men was also narrowed, but there are still 57 million primary school children who are still out of school, which means the goal wasn't achieved, but it showed improvement. The third goal is to promote gender equal and empower women. The target is to eliminate gender disparity in all courses of schooling. The developing countries as a whole have achieved the target to eliminate gender disparity in primary, secondary, and tertiary education. The statistics have shown that there is an increase in percentage of women paid work outside of agriculture from 35% in 1990 to 41% by 2015. Moreover, the average proportion of women in Parliament has nearly doubled over the past 20 years. The fourth goal regards reducing children's mortality, aiming to reduce by 2/3 of the children who are under 5 mortality rate by 2050. Between 1990 and 2050, the goal under 5 mortality rate has declined by more than half, dropping from 19 to 43 deaths per 1,000 live births, and also the number of deaths in children under 5 worldwide declined from 12.7 million in 1990 to almost 6 million in 1950. The statistics have shown that the goal of reducing children mortality have been achieved. The fifth goal aims to improve maternal health and reduce by the 3/4 of maternal mortality rate. Since 1990, the maternal mortality rate has been cut nearly in half, and most of the reduction occurred since 2000. More than 21% of births were assisted by skilled health personnel globally in 2040, which slightly increased from 59% in 1990. This concludes that the goal didn't achieve, but it had shown the improves. The sixth goal first target regard to stopping the spread of HIV and AIDS. The UNIT statistics have shown that the new HIV infection fell by approximately 40% between 2000 and 2030, and globally, 35 million people are still living with HIV in 2030. For target 2 is stopping the spread of malaria and another major disease. Between 2000 and 2050, 58% decline in malaria mortality rate globally. And thanks to the increased funding, more children are sleeping under insect cycle trade bed net in sub-Saharan Africa. However, I would say the goal didn't achieve, but it showed a significant decline. The seventh goal is to ensure environmental sustainability. Unfortunately, the forest still continue to disappear at an alarming rate. Also, between 1990 and 2012, global emission of carbon dioxide increased by over 50%. However, regarding to water resource and access to safe drinking and basic sanitation, the target have been to reduce half of those who didn't have access to clean water and basic sanitation. Between 1990 and 2015, worldwide 2.6 million people gained access to improved drinking water source. 2.4 billion are still using unimproved sanitation facilities, including 946 million people who are still practicing open defecation.
The last goal is to build a global partnership for development, and there are a total of 6 goals to be achieved. The first one is develop further a non-discriminatory trading and financial system. Official development assistance from developed countries to developing countries increased by 66% between 2000 and 2014, reaching 135.2 billion in total. The second target is addressing the special needs of least developed countries. By 2015, 79% of imports from developing countries entering developed countries duty-free. The third target is addressing the special needs of landlocked developing countries and small island developing states. Projections indicate that 2.5% increase in country programmable aid in 2015, mainly through disbursement of multilateral agencies. The fourth target is reducing debt problems of developing countries. In 2013, the debt burden of developing countries was 3.1%, a major improvement over 2000's figure of 12.0%. The fifth target is regarding to provide access to affordable essential drugs in developing countries. From 2007 to 2014, on average, generic medicines were available 58% of public health facilities in low-income and lower-middle-income countries. And the last target is regarding to improve technologies, especially information and communication. Globally, the proportion of population covered by 2G mobile cellular network grew from 58% in 2001 to 95% in 2015. The internet usage penetration has grown from just over 6% of world's population in 2000 to 43% in 2015. 3.2 billion people are linked to a global network of content and applications. The last goal is considered as successful, and to conclude question 1, totally out of 8 goals, only 4 goals are achieved. Now let's move to discuss question 2, examine and present a short discussion of updated UN Sustainable Development Goals. As you can see from the previous generation who tried to reduce poverty and aim for achieving the UN Millennium Goals in 2000 to 2015, only 4 goals were achieved. As a result, the UN and all countries in the world had promised and committed themselves to work better and harder in improving the lives of its citizens. They and the UN have re-outlined 17 new goals in 2015, which these goals are also known as Sustainable Development Goals. The aim for all countries to work together to ensure no one is left behind and eliminate all poverty by 2030. The 17 goals consist of 1. No poverty, which is to end poverty. Everyone should have basic healthcare, security, and education. 2. Zero hunger, which aims to end hunger and undernourished people. 3. Good health, ensuring people live healthy lives, reduce child mortality, and raise life expectancy. 4. Education, the UN wants everyone to have access to quality education. 5. Gender equality. Gender equality is a human right and is vital for a peaceful, prosperous world. 6. Clean water. The clean water protects people from disease, yet 3 in 10 people lack access to it. 7. Clean energy. More renewable and affordable energy. 8. Economic growth. The aim is for sustainable economic growth and decent employment for all. 9. Industry and infrastructures. This involves building resilient infrastructure and fostering innovation. 10. No inequality. The poorest 40% of population should be able to grow their income faster than average. 11. Sustainability. The UN wants to increase affordable housing and make settlements inclusive, safe, and sustainable. 12. Responsible consumption. This goal aims to foster eco-friendly production, reduce waste, and boost recycling. 13. Climate change. Climate action. Urgent actions needed by regulating emissions and promoting renewable energy. 14. Life underwater. The aim is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources. 15. Life on hand. To stop degradation, we must preserve forests, deserts, and mountains ecosystems. 16. Peace and justice. Aim is inclusive societies and with strong institutions that provide justice for all. And lastly, partnership. If all countries are able to achieve goals, international cooperation is vital.
Question 3 is all about delivering messages to encourage citizens to make change to eradicate poverty. Because the poor are mixed group, which means they are made up of several differently response segments. Without understanding the segmentation of poverty, the messages and millions of funds may invest in the wrong place and become ineffective. First of all, it might never deal with the issue of poverty. The major thing is the non-poor don't know much about the poor, but they are willing to participate to assisting them by donating whatever they think or assume the poor need. For instance, food. This is not wrong, but it can deal with the problem in an unintelligent way which will never end poverty. This is because the need for food is the effect, not the cause. There is a quote by Dr. Cole saying that for every effect there is a root cause. Find and address the root cause rather than try to fix the effect, as there is no end into the later. From the quote, we believe the poverty can be reduced by focusing the cause. Therefore, to know what are the causes, why not just ask the poor? Perhaps the money can go to the correct place. The issue is that the poor also don't know what is the hidden problem that keeps them in poverty, or what are the things they try to need in their life. Instance, they only ask for things that can fix their survival. Our team comprehends the situation very well and wanted to spread the messages. Therefore, we came up with an example creative messages campaign that amplified the knowledge of cause and effects of poverty by selecting Southeast Asian poverty as a segmentation. The countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia still remain a developing country for this size because the poor still remain poor, even so they work hard every day. What do you see from the message post we create? The old woman says, "I need help." Behind the woman think about, "I got a job to do." The message we try to say is in the Southeast Asian, the major of the footpaths are below quality, which cause wheelchairs and handicaps to have difficulty helping themselves. Therefore, family members have to assist them. This costs a large amount of their time and money to take care of those people, while in developed countries, old people can take care of themselves and the family member can do their jobs and save money anytime. Think about the infinite amount of money and time that has been lost combining all the families in their field. The This concludes that they will be stuck as unproductive time waste and stay in poverty. If we have no idea about what is causing them to stay this way, by just fixing the footpath or basic infrastructure, it can make a huge difference.